Show. It's the Bob Doyle Show.
It's the Bob Doyle Show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pretty sure. At least that's the program I'm tuned into.
It's the Bob Doyle Show.
It's the Bob Doyle, it's the Bob Doyle, it's the Bob Doyle, it's the Bob Doyle with the Bob Doyle Show dancers. And wow, have I got a fun announcement for you about that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bob Doyle Show. Well, here we are, episode 15, called Tom Arnold, What Were Those Cubes? And today we solve the mystery of the titling of this show. But first, I have to apologize that I live in such obviously a high crime area that it requires circling helicopters. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not because I can't see your comments yet. But I'm going to refresh my page now so that I can see that, first of all, hopefully this is in fact broadcasting, and it is, and we've got a few viewers here, and what a lovely starting face I have for that. So thank you for being here, whoever you are. As you know the rules, what we like you to do is say hello in the comments. Hello, Jory. See what she did there? Hi, Bob. I know you are live, but you can't see me yet. Well, I see me. I hope you see me. Just refresh. I don't know. Help. Anyway, I'm just going to pretend like everything is just going fine. And again, apologize for the helicopter. And if you can hear it, let me know. Dawn, can you see me okay? You know, folks, I know it's kind of unprofessional and sloppy to be asking questions like, can you hear me at the beginning of a high production program like this? But you know, we are in the early days and we are an adopter of technology, and you know, you don't always know if it works. I started a show the other day and you can see me, and she sees me now. So now we are complete. Well, you know what to do now, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a follow-up of what I'm about to do. In the comment section, I'm going to paste a lot of text. And here it comes. Boom! Now these are your notification links. I will be posting these at the beginning of every show for the time being, until everybody's on board with it. You'll see there that there are 3 different links, and they all have to do with this show, oddly enough. The first 2 are notification links. Some of you are already on board with this and get the notifications via Facebook and on your desktop. How magical is that? No email required. Just follow the simple instructions there. You click them, you say yes, and then next time I go live or have a Bob Doyle Show related announcement, you get the notifications right there on your desktop, and you don't even have to check your email. You don't even have to remember. All you got to do is be on your computer and be like, oh yeah, it starts in 5 minutes. Anybody here get those notifications today? I see that a lot of people are jumping on board the notification train, and I am just elated about that. So another thing I want you to do, because we got this down to a science, the 3rd link there, you'll see, is a link to tweet out this show. And what happens when you tweet out this show, ladies and gentlemen? Anyone know? Want to raise your hand? What? Not that. That's coming up. This happens, ladies and gentlemen. A live Twitter feed with your post on it. Now, I've taken the liberty between last time you remember I said, wouldn't it be great if I could come up with a way that you could link and all the words would be filled in and you don't have to type anything, you just click and send, unless you want to change what you type, which, you know, the actual message. But the hashtag's built in there for you, and the link back to this page is built there for you, and it's just that 3rd link on that list. You just click that, it'll pop up a tweet window, and you can tweet this show, and then it's going to show up here on the live feed. You're going to be a part of the show, a part of broadcast history. I can't stress that enough. You know, it may all seem like fun and games to you, and it also seems like fun and games to me, and that's exactly what it's supposed to. You mean we're tweeting bobdoyleshow.com no, if you click it, if you click it only sees the hashtag? Well, I don't know. When I click the link, tweet link, a whole thing comes up. The bottom line is we want you to tweet that says hashtag Bob Doyle Show. That's the essence of it. But we'd like you to point them back here, which it's supposed to do. It should come up and have now see, somebody did it successfully. Let's see who it was. It's, of course, Dawn. She's the most tweeted person, and it's right there, and everything's filled in, just like I said. So we are consecutive, nonstop, where Lynn has a problem that no one else has, technically, with this show. But that's okay. That's okay. That's what makes it unique. In fact, it's going to start to be disappointing when it works for her, because then what will we talk about the first 5 minutes of the show? Okay, you, and you, and you. How many of there are you? Let's find out. 6. Now, come on. Now, here's what we have to do. We're going to have to up that a little bit. And how are we going to do that? We're going to share We're going to share. We're going to click the share button underneath the video, and then you're going to share it on your timeline or with someone you know and love. Now, in addition to the helicopters, we have Cody the dog barking back in the background. So just another real slice of life here at the Bob Doyle Show, which is really what this is about. Lynn just said her computer froze. Because this is also, in addition to it being the Bob Doyle Show, it is also the What's Going On with Lynn's Computer Show. So we break in with those stories as they develop. So right now we all know that at 6:06 p.m. Pacific time on May 1st, welcome to May, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Lynn's computer froze. So everyone take notes. We'll quiz you on it later. All right, now I have to scroll down a bit and see what's... Oh, Lynn's leaving. She says I'm leaving. I guess because her computer froze. I guess that's what she was trying to say. Now, as you all know, Nori, thanks for being here. As you all know, we are always pushing the envelope, aren't we? If there was an envelope right here, which there's not, but if there were, I'd push it. I'd push it right here in front of all of you. I wouldn't even care. I wouldn't even care what you thought after I pushed it, because we're envelope pushers here. It's how we roll. So, as you know, I'm always looking for new ways to engage with you, right? I want to make you a part of the show. With me, it's just me, and how tedious is that? Pretty tedious. So your interaction is, well, it's necessary. It's the lifeblood of the show. So not only do I look for comments and things like that. Hi, Marie. Nice to have you here. And I really mean that. That's just not some toss-off statement. It's nice for every single one of you to be here. Anyway, so the idea is I'm trying to find ways to engage, like doing the tweet. Now, if you followed me before I came over here to Facebook, you know a little something about Be Bob's Head, another little fun technological games we play here. So, oh wait, I have to announce something first. You also know, if you watch this, that I start sentences and don't follow them. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner in the Figure Out the Connection of the Titles contest that most of you probably didn't even know was running. And it's Dawn, who's in the room here. And I will explain that fully in a little bit. But we do have that winner. So that means that as I start titling these programs from this point on, I'm going to have to come up with another connection between them, because she jumped in and guessed it way too soon. And I don't know, honestly, if she Googled the titles and then said, oh, here, and then I don't know. I don't care. It's up to me to make it a little more challenging than that. Anyway, we're going to talk about that, because that's going to be the way I title my shows forever. There's going to be a common thread between the titles until somebody says, I know what the thread is, and then we'll talk about it. And by the way, the thread in my mind is about having something like, not just, and it's that, now move on. I'm going to talk about it. There's a reason I want to talk about it. There's a reason. There's a reason for almost everything I do, despite the fact that it looks like there isn't. Okay, happy headline. Now Dawn is tweeting twice. She's taking up all of the slack of all of you who aren't tweeting. She's got two different IDs going right now tweeting this show. Just remember, when this show is the huge time. Now, again, that's Dawn, that's got to be you again, right? All right, so it's still another ID she's using to tweet. This is commitment. This is loyalty. And that's why she's going to be interviewed on this show. By the way, this is an interview show, even though I really haven't done that many interviews yet. And later on this broadcast, we're going to test something. It's going to be a radical technology test that could fail miserably and totally destroy the pace of the program. Isn't that exciting? So I'm really looking forward to that. I always like to throw one or two things into the show that could absolutely destroy it. You know, just see how kind of tough I am. All right, so we've talked about sharing, and we've talked about all that. We've talked about the title. Now, let's talk about another fun way. Now, I've been asking you all about this for a very long time, and only one person has actually stepped up and participated in this particular way. Now, because we live in a magical world and a magical time, we have lots of, I know she's Lynn. Anyway, We live in a magical time, right? And so we can do magical things on this show. That's what this is all about. And so, for example, we have the segment called Be Bob's Head, which no one's really, I mean, a couple of times we've done it. I'll explain it further later. After we do this test, actually, later, then I'll know for sure if we can bring Be Bob's Head over here. But here's the thing. Now, you see behind me, I'm broadcasting from my studio. You see all the clutter, etc., right? But we have the technology, ladies and gentlemen, to basically broadcast from anywhere on the planet. For example, if I wanted to broadcast from, let's see, where am I? I got to go back to here, a lake, okay? Or if I wanted to go out into the woods, I could go out into the woods. If I wanted to go out into the woods, I could go out to the woods. You have to talk to the woods a couple of times for them to actually understand what you're saying. But here's what I really want to do. I want to come into your living rooms, ladies and gentlemen. See, this family could be you. Can you imagine? Now, this guy over here, he's nothing. How about you? Nothing. So what we need is people with some a little bit more excitement. But here's the thing, and I'm not leaving here till somebody does this. I want you to send me a picture. Just send me a picture comment right now. Send me a picture comment, and then I'm gonna broadcast from wherever the picture is that you send. So what I've been asking for is send me a picture of you guys on your couch or your front yard or any scene you want. You could be now, unlike these guys who are sitting very still. You could send me literally. You could send me a video clip of you and your family or your dog just sitting on the couch, just chilling, and it would just loop in the background. And I'd be doing the show in your place. Now, come on. That doesn't excite you? It should excite you. So what I want is somebody, you don't tweet? All right, Marie, then that's fine. You don't have to tweet if it's against your whatevers. So what's not working? I don't know whether you're talking about the tweeting stuff not working or whatever, but somebody send me a picture, and I'm going to sit right here until somebody comments. Can you comment with a picture here? Oh, you can't. Well, that's not going to work then at all, is it? Well, you could PM me if we're connected. I'll come up with a different way to do it. I thought for sure you could do for some, you know how you can do comments with pictures, but apparently in the Facebook Live thing you can't. So that's not going to work. My evil plan failed in that regard. But send me a private message right now. Shoot me a file, and I'm going to put that. Now, of course, it has to be appropriate. I'm not going to, I'm not going to end the show. I'm not going to have the show brought to a halt by the authorities, because somebody's being silly. All right, what's not working? I don't know what you're talking about. This stuff not working. Whatever you send me a picture, I'm going to sit right here until somebody comments, come with a picture. That's not what's going to work out with. Whoa. What is going on there? What's not working? I don't know what you're talking about. This stuff not working. Well, Marie, what I'm saying is I am clearly sitting in front of somewhere that is not my studio, and that could be anywhere on the planet that I have a picture of. So what I'm asking for is for you to send me a picture of where you'd like me to broadcast from, and I will broadcast from there. So, all right, no one's jumping on the bandwagon right now. That's fine. I wish that you would. It'll be fun. I promise you. Just, you'll see. I'll keep watching my Facebook private messages, and then see if somebody wants to play. But that's fine if you don't. All right. So let me talk about. So now we're going to get into the meat, the meat. But let me just say that as we move along, we've got an aptacular segment where I'll be. This time I'm going to be reviewing a game. It'll be the first game that I've done. And all right, Marie has sent a photo. All right. So 1 second. All right. Awesome. Now I have to. I am going to have to do a little something here, but that's okay. Just give me a sec. I'll speed this process up too, but it is a process because I'd moved on. For one thing, I'd said, well, all right, they're not going to do this right now, so just give me the second, and then we will do this. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I know it's a little clumsy, but what are you gonna do? And now Jory has jumped on. So now we're doing. I guess you guys just weren't ready with pictures. I guess that's reasonable. Why would you be ready with pictures? I think Bob might have us send pictures today. I better have one handy, right? So that didn't happen. All right, now here we go. Let me just make sure of something. I know I'm being a goof, but that's, that's what I'm doing. Why am I? Okay. Okay. All right. Now, that took way too long, but here we go. So there is Marie, and I don't know who she's with. Let's see if we can, a little more room there. Oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Boy, the controls on this thing are a little wonky. By the way, sorry. I know, not a very smooth segment, but here, I'll move over here. Now it's the three of us. Now, I could do the show like this, except this is a little bit uncomfortable for me to lean exactly this way all the time. But this is generally the idea that I'm going for. So thank you, Marie, for doing that. And clearly, Jory, I want to wait until I get a smoother way to get this picture up there than that. That was a little cumbersome. And I had a system in my mind, and then I ran out of time, and I didn't do it, as was evidenced by how clumsy that was. All right. Now nothing's responding. I can't get back to the studio now. I seriously can't get back to the studio. So I guess we're just going to be. Oh, yes, we can. Sorry, I forgot. Okay, Who irons sheets? Do you iron the bed sheets? All right. So here's the thing with the titles. So let's see if I can remember the titles going backward. Today was Tom Arnold, What Were Those Cubes? Last time was I Ate a Ghost Stromboli. And then there was one that was Let's All Get Crazy Dogs. And I think there might have been one. Oh, you guys are sending lots of pictures. That's freaking awesome. Thank you. So next time I'll have them, and then you can tune in again, and I'll devote a little bit of time to broadcasting from each of your pictures. I appreciate the fact that you did that. I promise you it's going to be fun. And if you get video or something, that's going to be a whole new thing. So all of those titles are out of the material from a comedian named Paul F. Tompkins. Now, why am I bringing this guy up? All right, first of all, I have to get back so I can see your comments again. See, what I need, I have 2 monitors. I need about 1,000. That's really my challenge. See, now I can't get rid of this picture. Okay. All right. Oh, I see. Now, so Lynn sent a picture in the comments somehow. So that's interesting. So Lynn did it. I don't know why that happened. Whoa, look at these pictures. You guys, these are awesome. I can't wait. Well, you should like Lynn. She's very likable, Marie. There is next time. Yes, there's next time. All right, Lynn wants me to do that picture. But see, it's already scrolled off the screen. All right. Anyway, thank you for all of that, and I will get myself more together and figure out a way that it'll go to a place faster, because the way I've got it set up now, it's just too cumbersome. Obviously, I can't spend 20 seconds doing it. It has to be send, boom, and I can do it. I'll be ready next time. All right, don't forget to click the tweet link, by the way. So Paul F. Tompkins. Now I'm going to settle into talking about why I'm talking about a comedian. So I'll just say right out that, number one, I don't know Paul F. Tompkins. I've never met Paul F. Tompkins. I've known of Paul F. Tompkins since I was watching a show called Mr. Show. Anybody watch Mr. Show with Bob and David on HBO several years ago? And now, of course, I can't stop watching it. I watch it all on YouTube. I think it's one of the most genius sketch shows since Monty Python's Flying Circus. Totally different vibe, but genius all the same. And everybody associated with that show is brilliant in their own way. And I have respect for all of them as comedians and writers and performers and innovators and all of that. There was something about Paul F. Tompkins, though. So if you ever go back and watch his early stuff over on Mr. Show, first of all, he looks a lot different. He talks about the fact that he was a lot heavier then, and he had a certain way. He was one of the bit players there. So he, I guess, wrote, and I'm just guessing, he wrote, and then he performed, and that was back in 20 years ago. Okay, so since that time, so after that. After Mr. Show was, it was already over by the time I discovered it. But then I caught Paul F. Tompkins on one of the other networks with a one-man show he did called Driven to Drink. And during the course of the whole thing, he drank, I think, 6, Guinness beers. So they're not too alcoholic. And he got through the whole thing. And he's very much a storyteller. So Paul F. Tompkins is not joke. Okay, he tells stories in this way. Let me cut to where he is kind of as of about 5 years ago. I started listening to a lot of comedy on satellite radio. And his stuff would come up, and it was so different than everybody else's that it caught my attention. So then I was like, well, who is this guy? And I searched and I said, oh, that's Paul F. Tompkins. He's the guy from Mr. Show. And then I started digging in a little bit more, and I made, you guys know Pandora, right? Anybody not know Pandora? You can't paste iframes in here. Oh, look at these pictures. Holy crap, these are great. Anyway, so I can't talk about distraction. Some of these are awesome. All right, well, I'm definitely using these next time. These are great. So I started listening to his comedy, and then I got focused and said, you know what, I'd hear him in amongst the others because Pandora works, similar comics, and I discovered a lot of great comics that way. But I kept going back to his style, and I think that there's just something, and over the course of time, I've gone, why is it that I like this guy's stuff so much? I mean, it's not like I said, it's not joke. It's not, ha, 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 kind of stuff. There are other comedians who will invoke that response in me. But there's something about his delivery, his energy, his manner. Now, I know that Don, who was the one who figured out the connection, has then since and explored him and sees what I'm talking about. And if you're not familiar with him, he's not like one of these big names like, that you hear Chris Rock and all those guys. But he is, I believe, one of the best comedians working and writing and performing today. But he's just in a different sector. And so what's always, and I think what really clicked for me as I was starting to do this show, whenever that was, months ago, started thinking about it, is that I think one of the things that appeals to me is not just that he's insanely clever, and he's a really good riffer, meaning he can just come up with stuff on the fly and make it really interesting, and he goes down these absurd roads. Paul F. Tompkins comes onto stage wearing a suit. He's always been that way. He's always dressed really well, and it's only gotten better. So there's this sort of interesting psychology that goes on when a guy like that who's very well spoken, very literate, uses big words from time to time, but not understandable, just enough to give him this sort of, I don't know, this sort of, there's an energy about him. And then so when he goes down some really abstract, absurd road, it's even better. It's even richer. And so what are you guys yelling at me for? Do it now. Do what now? What are you talking about? Are you talking about doing the pictures in the background? Because they're scrolling off. I don't know how to get them at this point. I have to go get them later. I had to move on. But next time I've got a treasure trove of these pictures. So again, and now look, and let me say this too. I'm not a Paul F. Tompkins expert. I'm a fan, and I'm not an uber fan. I do have probably all of his albums probably memorized because I've heard them so many times. But there's so much else that he's done on TV and podcasting and all these different things online that I've never heard and would like to, but I haven't rushed to do it. I'm not one of these people I've got to hear everything, but whenever I get the opportunity, I like to. But here's what really struck me recently as I was gearing up for this show. I'm going to switch over here to the Twitter feed and hope that some of you will get excited about tweeting out who haven't yet. So I heard him on a podcast called the Nerdist Podcast, which was done probably, I'm guessing it's 3 or 4 years ago, I think, based on what they were talking about. And he was talking about starting his podcast, which at that time was called the Pod F Tomcast. And I was aware of it, but I never really listened to it. And I've got a little psychology around that too. I really am going somewhere with this. So bear with me. Okay. And he was talking about how when he was starting up that the show is evolving. He doesn't really even know what it is yet. He doesn't know where it's going to go. He's going to try certain things. He's just going to do it if it feels good to do it, which I'd been telling Lynn for, weeks or however long about this show is that I don't know what it is. I don't know where it's going to go. It could fall flat. Any given episode could crash and burn, which it has, but I'm going to keep doing it and see where it goes. And so there was just something about his sensibility and his approach that was so like mine. Now, I'm definitely not saying that anybody would meet me who knows him and go, "You remind me of Paul F. Tompkins." I'm not saying that at all. But I think there's a similar attitude or approach to this sharing and exploring this creative thing that I resonate with him. That doesn't make me awesome or great or create. It doesn't make me anything in particular. I just noticed that, and it makes me go, yeah, that's why I like listening, because he's just one of these people. And I think you guys probably know kind of what I'm talking about. There are people who are just interesting to listen to, whether or not they're being like, he's a comedian, but he doesn't have to be making jokes for me to be interested in listening to him. There's something about the cadence, there's something about the energy, there's something about the attitude, right? We listen to people for our various reasons. We'll tune into shows, whether or not we like the person personally. You like them because you enjoy the experience of listening to them. Whether you enjoy getting mad at them or disagreeing with them or whatever, there's something literally, biologically and chemically that happens in your brain that feels good enough that you listen to. That's why we do anything. It gives us a feeling that we enjoy, right? That's why we seek to do something, I should say. And I think that, when I look at what I want out of this show, it's not necessarily to be liked by everybody, but I think I'm a likable guy. And it's not to keep making jokes and be funny all the time or whatever. What I guess I'm hoping for is that I find people who just like to hang out together with me, and if I go down some crazy road, they like to go down that crazy road. And then as I fine tune this and it gets more defined as to what it is, that you'll follow along and still just hang out. We're super early stages here, trying all kinds of crazy stuff, technology that still, bites me every now and then. And, the whole thing about how many people are watching and who's sharing and all of that, that all still goes through my head. But it's just fun. So I think I got a lot of that. I got a lot of validation from hearing Paul F. Tompkins talk about his thing and how he approaches all of that. And I got that there's something about listening. And it's not just Paul F. Tompkins. There are other comedians that have an energy that it's not abrasive, it's not dirty, it's not, it's just easy to listen to. I mean, he's not billed as a clean comic like, say, a Brian Regan. But for the most part, you can listen to him with just about anybody. Like a Gary Goldman is another one, who I just like their conversational style. And if you don't know who these people are, I really recommend checking them out. However you check out things. Whether you have a Pandora account, do a Paul F. Tompkins station, which is what I did. And or just explore these things. There's just something about comedy. Obviously, I like funny things, right? But there's something there's something engaging. Like I study it, I guess, to an extent. I don't want to make that sound pretentious, but I am curious about, why do I find this thing entertaining? Why is this funny to me and Lynn totally doesn't get it or whatever? Like, what's the difference? What's going on psychologically? And I just know that for me, listening to Paul F. Tompkins is like hanging out with somebody I'm super comfortable with just hanging out with. And if they're funny, great. If they're not, I'm still willing to listen to what they have to say. And I guess that's what I'm hoping that this show will become for somebody, for a lot of people eventually. And it's funny because, so I say all this stuff and it seems like, well, you'd probably like to really meet Paul F. Tompkins. Now, look, I'm in LA. I could go see his show at Largo or wherever he does his thing. I'm sure if I really wanted to finagle it, I could find my way to meet him. But then what? I am not one of those people. Because look, you meet somebody in that type of situation, there's a couple of ways the conversation can go. One is you get to, like, the questions, the things that I would talk to him about are like his process, right? Not where do you come up with ideas. I would never in a million years ask that. But I know he writes all the time, and I know he workshops things all the time, and there's just a lot about how he does what he does that I'm curious about. And what was his experience with the show? There's lots of practical questions that aren't, where do you get your material and all of that. But then the other thing that's right there, obviously, is, I'm not going to go up to him and say, you talked about a dog, I like that, it was funny. That kind of stuff. To come up and just say, man, I love your stuff. Really? That's all? That's the best you got? But I mean, that is what's there for me. Like, I could sit there and tell him how brilliant I think his stuff is, but what I would want to do is say why I think, and it's so, no one wants to hear that. No one wants them to come, somebody to come up to them and go, I really appreciate the way that you approached the structure of this joke, because I see what you were doing here was this, and I just, ugh. But that's when I go, I think it's so funny whenever you do this. Right? So I'm just not good at meeting. I'm not a very starstruck person. I don't go seeking out, meeting celebrities or any of that stuff. It's just not. And I only have a small group of people who I'm actually even remotely interested in kind of meeting. Now, he is one of them, but not in the situation where, oh, I can hook you up an introduction. Okay, hi, nice to meet you. And then there's all that, I just can't be that guy. Hi, Eva, watching me on Facebook. That's nice. Where are you looking for pictures and all that cool stuff? Well, I was just wanting you to and now apparently I have months worth of backdrops. Let me just let me see if I can just do one here. It's just I don't. Oh, not that one. Oh, what have I done to myself? Here, this is a good one. But it's just right now the process is too cumbersome. That's the problem that I'm having right now. It's taking too long to get it up there because I don't have enough windows. If I had more windows, if I had more screens, I could do it a lot quicker. But I only have 2. So you guys just get to hang out and it's trying to keep up with which ones and it's just, oh boy. All right, what did I just do? All right, I'm gonna try this one and now I can't, here we go. I'm gonna drag this over and go like this. And I don't know if this is gonna work or not. Let's find out. All right, there. That says life is good behind me. That was sent in by Marie and it's zoomed in too much. And I'm gonna have to reposition a little bit. And then it'll fade and move. See that wonderful animation? How cool is that? But anyway, this is the idea, Eva. So what I'm looking for is, what I'm hoping for is people will send like pictures of them sitting on a couch or whatever as if they're in the audience or they're doing something silly in the background, right? Like what if you send a video of doing like this over my head and I put you right there, right? We want to think outside the box if you're in one, if you happen to be in a box. Which I don't know if you are or not because I can't see where you are. But if you're in a box, get out of it and think. And then you can send me pictures like that. But anyway, I appreciate all the pictures that you all have sent. So does that explain why I'm doing the picture thing? Oh, I'm clicking too many buttons. Did I mention that I don't have enough screen save? Profound. Yeah. Okay, Lynn, all right, I'll try your picture. All right, but where is it? I think you emailed me one, right? I don't even have my email program running. So I'll run it. But see, my CPU, this program taxes my CPU like you would not believe. Because obviously I'm asking you to do a lot of things, some of which you haven't even seen yet. We have an interview coming up with a gentleman named Garfield Stencilton, who the timing of this interview is astounding because he doesn't like Paul F. Tompkins. And that's like his claim to fame. So of course I have to talk to him about that. All right, so I'm looking to see, I'm waiting for, oh my gosh, look at all this stuff. Background pic from Lynn. All right, let's see if I can do this a little bit easier this time. Oh, I see what she did there. All right. Yeah, this one's gonna screw up. That's what I was afraid of. I can't do it like that, unfortunately. See, this is why I can't do it. It's just, it's way too cumbersome this way. Like I just feel like the show has come to a grinding halt because I'm trying to do this when I knew it wasn't a good idea. But I said I would, so I'm following through. This is going to be the part when I watch this back because I am at the stage where I have to watch the show afterward to see, don't ever do that again or that dragged or whatever, that I'm going to be going, oh my God, why did I try to do this? This was such a mistake. Because I'm clicking wrong buttons and you guys are just sitting there waiting going, so what's the dealio? All right, hold on. I'm just about there, Lynn. And ta-da, bazam! Ladies and gentlemen, if you go to lynnrose.com, I think this is in the background of her header. Is that what this was about? Just getting a little plug for lynnrose.com. All right, so we'll broadcast here for a little bit because Lynn was very patient and persistent in getting me to put myself here, so that's what I'm doing. All right, pins and needles. Is that what it was? It wasn't boring, it was pins and needles? What? Oh, she's getting mad at me because I said that it was about promotion. Of course not. If it had been about promotion, it would say lynnrose.com on it. She would have printed that up. But see, she was just trying to help me out. She was just giving me a thing. Okay, so look. I just wanted to, I guess what I'm inviting you to do, and there is a reason I told you all of that. It's not just because I'm not here just to talk about Paul F. Tompkins, even though if you haven't heard of him or haven't experienced his comedy, I would love for you to go experience him, because as Don did, you realize, wow, this guy really does, he's got a different style about him. And I think you'll see why I enjoy him, and why I, am encouraged by his success. And he is a person who, he's been doing comedy since he was 17 years old. He started in Philadelphia. Okay, I said I wasn't an expert, but this is all stuff he says in his act anyway. This is how I know this. I didn't read the book of Paul F. Tompkins to learn this information. He says it. So he started with this in this brutal environment of, where there's heckling and all that. I could never do that. I could never do that. So even though I like what he does when he gets up and he riffs, I told you he's an excellent riffer. You can just say talk, and he'll figure out a way to fill the space and be funny, and take you down all sorts of roads, which are absurd roads lots of times. And that's what I love. It's like, see what he did there with that empty space? He took it all the way over here and got laughs from it. And so, and that's one of the, and the thing I get excited about that is I have been doing that my whole life, because when I run out of things to say, I'll go squirrel over in this direction and take it down that way, and it amuses me. So, and that's one of the questions I would ask him. I would ask him, when you do write, are you you're looking for it to amuse yourself? Like, what is his ideal audience? What does that look like? Or does he even think about that, or does he just do his thing? Anyway, and he's just got such a natural ease. And so sometimes when I am doing this show, like right now, and I feel like things are stumbling, or there's a big pause, or I'm lost, or whatever it is, I think, well, if I was watching Paul F. Tompkins, who I'm watching not because he's a slick broadcaster, not because he doesn't fill the space with cleverness from wall to wall, but because I just enjoy kind of hanging out, then what do I care if he has a technical... I could sit there and watch him download images and move them over the phone. I can wait. Where's he going with this? And if it's funny, great. If it's not, I still like being there. So that's kind of, again, I guess that's what I'm aspiring to be. But I do know that's asking a lot of people. If they're going to invest their time to watch something like this, they want to be entertained, they want to be interested, they want to be amused, or whatever. At least that's in my mind. But what happens, again, what I was really noticing, and this is a little bit too much for a show like this, is there is a chemical thing that happens when you are being entertained. And there's something, and I think there's unique chemistry that happens depending on the type of entertainment you're watching. So when I am watching Paul F. Tompkins or some of these other comedians that ignite that chemical reaction, it just feels good just to watch and be in the space, whether or not I'm laughing. I don't know if that makes any sense, but for the record, I've said it. I've said it, and I meant it. I've said it and meant it concurrently, which is why I am so shocked and dismayed that there is anyone on the planet who doesn't like Paul F. Tompkins. Now, I can understand, if you don't think he's funny or whatever, or, that's fine. There's no, I don't judge you. Let me get back in the studio here. I don't judge you because I want to get back in the studio. Oh, I keep forgetting. I have to do a little something. I have to push the magic time machine or the teleporter or the holodeck or whatever it is I do to get back to the studio, which is clearly where I am right now. All right, I've totally forgotten. Oh yeah, so there's this guy, his name is Garfield Stencilton, and he doesn't like Paul F. Tompkins. Garfield, what is your problem? I don't consider myself having a problem except with my face. I think your face has a problem too, but we're going to not talk about that. We're not going to call attention to the problem with your face. I do want to know about what this problem is you have with Paul F. Tompkins, if you don't mind sharing that. Well, I think it's clear that he's hiding something, and I don't like it when people hide things. I like sincere, honest, open people. Why are you saying that he's hiding something? Well, he's clearly hiding behind that initial, Paul F. Tompkins. Why doesn't he come right out and say it? It could be anything. It could be Fred, Frank, Francis. Is he embarrassed? What is he hiding? Why do you care? What difference does it make? That this is your thing, that you go around on talk shows and say, Well, and then our producer asked, well, why do we have you on? I don't like Paul F. Tompkins. Well, we assume that you have some great reason, like you know something, or or you've got something interesting to say about his comedic sensibility. But you're telling me that the reason you don't like Paul F. Tompkins is because he says F in the middle of the name. That's it.
It's enough for me. Who are you to judge? Look, I know you're just thinking about this, that, and the other thing. You're not really thinking this through. But what if the F stood for Frankenstein?
What if the F stood for Frankenstein? Is that what you said?
Yes, what if it stood for Frankenstein? That would be quite frightening, wouldn't it?
It would be frightening and irrelevant. What does that have to do? First of all, are we talking about Frankenstein the monster? Or are we talking about Frankenstein the doctor who made the monster?
Well, both, I guess. Both.
What is happening with your face?
I don't know. I don't like it. It's very uncomfortable. But anyway, Frankenstein, one way or the other, doctor, monster, it's all bad news.
But it's so stupid. I'm sorry. I mean, if you don't like somebody, you got to know something about them, enough to form an opinion about them, but you're saying you don't like them because you think that perhaps maybe his middle name is Frankenstein, and you haven't even looked at that, and I promise you, that's the silliest thing I've ever heard. His name is not Frankenstein.
You don't know that, and you won't know that until you see a birth certificate, so I don't want to hear any more about this.
Excuse me. What's going on in there, Lenny? There's craziness going on in there. I'm sorry, Garfield. But what's the problem? Again, what's the problem with Frankenstein?
Look, I know all too well what it's like to be chased around, being called monster with torches and people threatening my life. It's just a bad feeling. It brings back a lot of memories.
Now, why would people chase you around, calling you a monster with torches and pitchforks and whatnot?
Because my name is Frankenstein.
All right. That was craziness. I'm sorry. I just don't have time for that kind of craziness. That was Garfield Stencilton, who is afraid that Paul F. Tompkins' middle name is Frankenstein. That's generous of you. But it could, yes, like Gary said, maybe it stands for fun, Garfield. I don't know where these people come from. I got to get a new producer. The guest they bring on this show is just silly. It's just ridiculous. All right, now look, now's the time when I have to take still another risk on this program. I want to try something, and it's going to require one of you. Yes, it's Frankenstein. Gary Moon with a little Young Frankenstein reference, picking up the ball and running with it. Thank you. I hope. I guess that's what that was. Yeah, Lynn doesn't like my guests. She gets freaked out every time I bring on a guest. Rachel, thanks for being here on an official Facebook Live broadcast of the Bob Doyle Show. We're just getting ready to enter into a whole new world that, again, it's a technical thing that I have not tested here before, and it could be very embarrassing for all of us. All of us. Embarrassing for you to watch it crash and burn, and especially embarrassing for me to have it crash and burn. But guys, like I said, this is at its core, it will be an interview show with people who call in. But now that I've moved this whole game over from Blab to Facebook Live using this incredible technology that allows me to do all of these magical things, I have to test something, and there's no way to do it without testing in real time. Test conditions, right? So again, remember, all of you remember, as you're filling out your feedback forms for this show, early stages, we must try things. Some will not work, and others will. Some will not work at first, but I'll keep trying them anyway until I've way overworn my welcome. And then after that, a new round of people will come in because you guys gave up on me, and then they'll get it. That's how it is. Eva, I didn't notice that because she tweeted, I'm watching Bob Doyle Show on Facebook, but I can't figure out what I'm supposed to be, whatever. Anyway, well, good. See, you have sparked curiosity. She probably moved on already. I don't know. But anyway, I didn't see that you had tweeted there. I'm going to put it in the rotation, and let me go right there right now so that we can all experience the wonderfulness of the sharing tweets. So here's the help I need you to do. I need to test in the call-in feature. And how are we going to call into the Bob Doyle Show, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to call in via Skype. Okay, so the Bob Doyle Show has its own Skype address, and I am firing up Skype right now on my phone, actually. And what I want you to do, somebody, first one in wins, call Bob Doyle Show on Skype, if you can. Now, we tried this the other day. It worked, technically, but then there was a problem because the person calling me, who in this case was Lynn, couldn't see my picture. So that's why I'm using my phone instead of my computer running Skype. So you Skype Bob Doyle Show, and then with your camera, don't do it without a camera because that defeats the whole purpose. And then I'm going to, in theory, bring you in. Dawn has called, and now I am answering. And I'm waiting. Hi, Dawn. Are you ready? Hold on. Hold on. Let me make sure. Oh, I got to put you up on the, see, I forgot a very important piece, which will just take in just a second. Come on. Are you there? Okay. All right. So now I have to, what is going on here? Wow. Okay. Wow. Something very strange is happening. All right. I'm going to have to do it's, again, this is good. This is why we're testing. But as you can see here, we only see Dawn's hat. So I have a little bit of moving around to do. But I knew this was going to happen the first time. And that's why, see, you guys get to watch this whole thing. This is the only way I could have set this up. Although I guess I could have said, hey, Lynn, will you do this with me? But why are you making those noises? Oh, I hope you guys didn't hear what she just said. Okay, Dawn says no. All right, hold on. I know it seems so tedious, but
on the replay, I will turn it up so I can hear.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna get this, but I have to get this just right. And this is a one-time deal, guys. So what I'm doing right now, in fact, let's see, you can kind of watch the work in progress. What I'm doing now, I'll only have to do this one time, ever. So, boy, but it is dicey. Now, Dawn, you didn't just get closer, did you? What happened there? Your picture just got huge all of a sudden.
Well, no.
Boy, it disappeared. These are tricky controls. This is, I never would have thought in a million years it would have taken this long. Or I never would have done this.
That's why you're waiting to do the Paul F. Thompson thing, so you have all the bugs.
Oh yeah, this would be quite hideous if Paul F. Tompkins had called in. I said, "Hold on, Tom, Paul. It'll only take about 5 years for me to get you on here." This is I mean, look, obviously it's going to work. It's being really, really slow and cumbersome. I'm just about to go with it. Oh shoot, it's still not big enough. Unbelievable, you guys. I hope my theory's right about. Well,
it's all good.
I know. I do need to breathe. Luckily, we don't have the big-time sponsors on the show right now, because I think they'd be like, I want to make a suggestion about the pace. All right, I'm almost here, and now, ladies and gentlemen, Dawn is here. Now, if you can see yourself, right? Can you see yourself? So maybe if you backed up just a little bit, we can see a little bit more of your face or whatever. But anyway, so talk for me and make sure we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're a little bit quiet, but I think maybe I can turn you up over here on my phone. Try it again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's a little bit better. Ladies and gentlemen,
okay.
Dawn has joined us. It only took us an hour and a half. But we have our first official call in. And it looks like we only lost 6 people during that debacle. So a very large percentage of our audience. But see, now we know, ladies and gentlemen, and that's the only time this will have to happen. So the next time someone calls in, it'll already be all lined up, and as long as your face is generally in the center, we're going to see you. And it'll be up to you to move your head, because I clearly can't go through that every single time. But now we have it. Now, Dawn, one of these days, we're going to get you in some decent lighting, for one thing,
Yeah, sorry about that.
and then we're really going to do an interview about what you're up to. Now we've been talking about this for ever since the Blab days. Remember back then?
God,
Oh,
it's so
that was a
long
long
ago.
time ago. I mean, that's like days. I don't know. I can't even remember. What is Blab again? Anyway, I don't want to burn. I shouldn't talk like that. You should dance with the one that brung you. Blab was.
Yeah, and Blab is a beta still. It's a beta.
That's true.
So,
Somebody reminded me of that in a post too. You know, like I had done a couple of blabs where the audio was like, well, that was not just happening to me. It was happening to lots of people because they're trying things, and that's a beta, and that basically gives them permission to do that, right? If we volunteer and say, all right, we'll play with your toy. Well, it's a beta. It says right there, which means that we invite this kind of thing to happen possibly. So. You're right, and so when I got that reminder, it kind of reframed the whole thing. It's like, well, I can't really complain too much. It is an amazing service, but with what I need to do, clearly, I need this. I need Facebook. I need large screen. I need people. People is good, and we'll get this people thing down too. I'm still trying to figure out what nights are the best. You know, like is it Saturday, Friday, two? Who knows? Is 3 times a week good? 2? Do I only do it 1 and then prepare more? Who knows? I don't know. Dawn, do you know?
Sunday nights I think is a good family night that people are usually in.
Family night.
So
Gather the kids around and listen to Bob Doyle talk about Paul F. Tompkins because they won't want to miss a minute of that. All right. Well, Dawn, you helped me. You helped me do the test. And it might actually be interesting if somebody else called in just to see if, in fact, it stayed, if it did stick like that. So that'd be great if anybody wants to call in. Anyway, Dawn, thank you very much. I appreciate you on all levels. And we'll talk again real super soon. Okay?
thank you.
All right,
Bye-bye.
bye. See, that was Dawn. Team player, ladies and gentlemen. Stepped right in. And she also guessed the thread, Paul F. Tompkins. So she's kind of like a star. Kind of like a star of the Bob Doyle Show, almost like a co-host. So look, I would love it if one of you who's remaining would call in again, and let's just see if it doesn't take as long. Ideally now, if you call in, I bring you on, I click a button, you're on the screen. No, none of that moving around, no adjusting, no. What? Lynn and I are gonna have to create an intercom system or something. Or she just needs to come in here. Or whatever, which would be fine. But I keep hearing her yelling about something. And I know she's upset with her computer. She is. Okay, Lynn's going to call in on Skype, and we're going to see. You'll meet Lynn. And for those of you who don't know her, maybe she can be my interview. I was actually going to go off on a virtual reality tangent today, but I'm realizing that I'm not because I'll save that, a kind of a follow up to our virtual reality show that we did a couple of weeks ago. I'll save that for next time, but I will do Apptacular. I will share the game because it'll be a super short Apptacular because the game itself is so freaking simple, in terms of playability. There's nothing to explain, not much to explain, except that it's just kind of cool. And it's very different than any of the other apps I've done have been, more apps or music apps or photo apps. This is just a game, that I thought was kind of cool. So we'll do that in a second after Lynn calls in. Still just waiting for her to call in at Bob Doyle Show on Skype. You can all make note of that. Bob Doyle Show on Skype. And I guess soon I'll start putting that in that, the notifications post that I do at the beginning of these so you'll know how to be notified and how to call in. And I guess I could make an overlay that says something like Skype now, bobdoyleshow.com. So I hope my producer's taking notes. Here she is, ladies and gentlemen, Lynn Rose. Now this should have my answer. Hold on, we're waiting for the picture to come up. And now if I just click here, there she is. See how that worked right away and I didn't have to do any finagling. That means it's a wild success. Thanks to Dawn for calling in and being patient. And then thanks to Lynn Rose, the lovely and talented, who's in the next room, who decided to come in and verify it for me. Now, those of you, ladies and gentlemen, who are watching, who have never, Misty says, yay, Lynn. Would anybody else like to ask Lynn Rose a question? Lynn Rose is in the house. This is a crazy opportunity because she is not easy to access. I myself haven't had a conversation with her in 4 or 5 months. So this opportunity is huge for you. But anyway, there she is. And right up next to that's the one thing about calling in on Skype with your phone is that we get a really super close-up look at the face of the people who are there.
Oh dear, I hope it's not scary.
How could it be scary? Am I right, ladies and
Well,
gentlemen? Dawn wants to.
Something about it being close up, which to me suggests scary.
Dawn wants to know how long you've been singing. I'm trying to turn up your volume too.
Oh well, try to turn it up. I don't think it'll do.
No,
very well.
I don't think there's anything you can do.
Yeah. Singing all my life, but different ways. So in the beginning, it was musical theater. Poor wandering one. Versus like, are you ready? You know, that type of thing.
Yep.
And that might have been too loud. Sorry. But anyhow, so I've learned how to grow my voice, try different styles and everything through the years.
Awesome. Any other questions for Lynn Rose while she's in the room? We've got to get on to Aptacular soon, but this is a rare opportunity. A rare opportunity. Okay, going once, going twice. All right, Lynn, thank you for helping me with this test. Now
That proves something.
You did. It proves that I am, in fact, a technical genius and innovator beyond compare and reproach.
Okay.
Right? All right. That's all I needed. Thank you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Lynn Rose, let's hear it for her. All right. So, guess what time it is? That's right. It's time for Aptacular. It's time for Aptacular. Aptacular. This is me just delaying getting the app up. Ladies and gentlemen, Aptacular in the house. And like I said, it is a game. And today, the game, hold on, let's get over here so you can hopefully see. It's called Phoenix HD. Phoenix HD. And it's just a simple little, top-down shooter, very kind of arcade-ish, I think, do I need to, you can't see the whole screen, or can you? No, I got to zoom out. I don't know what happened. Probably something that was Lynn's fault. I'm kidding. I don't know what happened there, but I just have to adjust the size of this just a skosh. Oh, I adjusted the wrong thing. Unbelievable. It's funny. I'm amusing myself. Come on. And, okay. No! I'm going to have a talk with these people about their controls, because this is maddening. All right. Now, make sure I got sound going, which I didn't. So let me turn it down a little bit. Okay, top-down shooter couldn't be simpler. There is one control, and that is your finger. I'm going to choose a ship. I'll choose the one that comes with it when you first start it, which is the Phoenix. I'm going to select Phoenix, and then you look at a scoreboard that is irrelevant to me because I don't care about that kind of stuff, and hit start. And now all I'm doing to control this guy is moving my fingers around, see? Now there's a little bit of a lag going up through the screen, but I think you can kind of see. So we got cool music going, very simple controls, lots of color. If you've got an iPad, this game is really a lot of fun to play on an iPad. I know you're watching me heads down into it. But it's got fun music. It's got little weapon things that it drops. The ship itself is pretty resilient. It can get hit by these missiles a few times without destroying. It starts to turn white as it gets more and more close to damage. There are shield things that you can pick up, money, coins for weapons, but you don't have to manually do anything. You just drag this thing around and try and avoid getting shot. So for good mindless fun, it's Phoenix HD. Are there any questions? Aptacular. 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 That's just me stalling. I do have a link ready for you. Let me just type it in here so you can go find this at the App Store. I, of course, nope, not Facebook. It's free. It's a free app, but you can pay to upgrade your ships early. Otherwise, you have to earn them. bobdoyleshow.com/ and Phoenix is spelled weird. OENIX. That link right there will take you to the App Store so that you can download that app for yourself, for your friends, for your family, for your loved ones, all of that. It's a nice way to finally sort of call and end the day. So next time we will talk a little bit more about some things that are happening and some things that have happened since I first started talking about virtual reality and what my goals are for that. And somebody did. Oh, it says file not found. What did I do wrong? Is it Phoenix HD? Hold on, unbelievable. This is going to be one of those. No, that should work. Why is that not working? All right, forget it. Just go look up Phoenix HD at the iTunes store, or at your Android Play Store if it has that. I'm sorry that this didn't work, and thank you for saying I'm actacular, and thank you, Marie, for saying that great to see me in this place. You mean the studio, as opposed to out in the middle of the field or floating above a lake? No, I'm kidding. You don't do Techno Geek online. You do Techno Geek at work. That's true. Right. I can understand that. You don't want to come home and do more of that. Luckily for me, this is all I want to do, is geek out on this kind of technology and all of that. And that is why, of course, the Bob Doyle Show exists. And it is now time to bring it to a close, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that's not too sad for you. But I appreciate the fact that you were here and that you show up and that you share. And that is, of course, if you share. And for some reason, I forgot to change the title in the closer. So you saw the slate for the last show, I Ate a Ghost Stromboli. So that's irrelevant. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope to see you the next time, which will probably be Tuesday at 6 p.m. right here on this very Facebook page.
It's the